Robert, welcome back to the latest United news. In this video, we'll be talking about Onana, we'll be talking about Rashford, we'll be talking about Antony, and much more as well. So let's get straight into it. I'm going to start off by talking about the Antony stuff. Also, there's bits on Rasmus Højlund as well, and Paulinho. But we'll start by talking about the Antony situation. Now, we came in last night suggesting from Fabrizio that Como tried to sign Antony in recent days. But Brazilian winger is giving priority to Real Betis. Manchester United are also aware of Antony's preference to continue at Betis next season. No club-to-club agreement yet. Listen, on Antony, again, Syria are interested. He's willing to take a pay cut. We all know that. On the Antony stuff, for me, as I know, it's about getting him out of the club. He's one of those players who just doesn't have a future at Manchester United for me. No doubt he's a hard worker and is a talented player, just wouldn't work at Manchester United. Now it's all about getting him out of the team. And listen, Betis are interested. Hopefully, the interest from Italian clubs will kind of give Betis that push that they need to make a bid for Antony. I think there's no club-to-club agreement yet, but hopefully that can be arranged soon. And then Manchester United know how quickly we need to get Antony off the books so we can reinvest that money into the squad. Again, he had a great loan spell at Betis, and I think now it's all about getting him out of the club and focusing on bringing in some other players. As I said, Antony, Betis interested. There's been reports from Napoli or Juventus in the Serie A, but again, they're much focused on Jadon Sancho at the moment. So listen, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but that's the latest on Antony. We just know he was never going to fit in the Ruben Amorim system, and yeah, listen, wish him all the best when he does leave. But it's all about getting this deal done very, very quickly. Now, Fabrizio said in the Mbuemo deal, he said talks with Brentford are still ongoing. They're still waiting on Manchester United to agree a fee with Brentford. So listen, that deal is kind of tracking at the minute. We know United want Brentford. We know that Mbuemo's chose United. It's just now about finalising the deal, and I think that's something that will happen in due course, hopefully anyway. Obviously, Tottenham have now switched their interest to likes of Eze, Semenyo, these sorts of players, so it's looking like their pursuit of Mbuemo's off. And then Manchester United just accelerate the deal. They will be having frequent contacts with Brentford to discuss a deal on the wages and the payment fee. I think there's a couple of million in the valuation from the report, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there, but that's a quick update. The next thing I want to talk about is João Paulinho. Now, we had a report yesterday talking about João Paulinho potential loan deal. Now, there's been some from different sources this time suggesting that Manchester United are targeting João Paulinho to add physicality and experience to their midfield. The Red Devils are continuing talks with their primary target before making a move for the Portuguese international. Ruben Amorim is keen to include Paulinho in his wider squad plans, but a move will only materialise if financial conditions align with Manchester United's expectation. Now, listen, he's a player who was close to joining United, and obviously he joined Bayern Munich. I just don't think he's getting a lot of playing time for them. He's 29 years old, will certainly add experience to this Manchester United team, and could be the sort of profile that we need. I mean, in an ideal world, you ship off Casemiro and then you bring in João Paulinho. I think that will massively help Manchester United. Again, as I said, the age would be a huge concern, but you can probably get 1 or 2 seasons out of him. There's no doubt he would improve our midfield, but would it be the sort of upgrade that we're looking for? As I said, he hasn't had the greatest time at Bayern. You could probably get him on a loan deal. As I said, it's all about the financial stuff. It's whether you can move on a Casemiro. We know Eriksen's left, so that just kind of free up a space in midfield. Whether Mainu goes, these sorts of moves as well. So I think it really is depending on whether Casemiro goes. Do I think Casemiro is going to go? Probably not, but I'll still want to bring in Paulinho anyway. I think now obviously we've got Cunha over the line. I think Mbuemo's next, then a striker. Then I would genuinely go for Paulinho. Then maybe look at a keeper, which we'll talk about. But listen, Ruben Amorim obviously wants him. He's 29. I think Amorim knows the midfield is kind of a problem. Ugarte isn't the most sort of consistent at the moment. I think United believe there's a player there in Ugarte, and so do I. But at 23, if you bring in someone like Paulinho, who's established, played Champions League football, played Premier League football before with Fulham, a very, very good player in that midfield. And I think you can see Fulham did miss him when he did leave. I think this is 1 or 2 seasons he's had at Bayern. Again, struggle to get minutes. But yeah, let's see what happens with that. The next thing I want to talk about is Rashford. Marcus Rashford is planning to return to training with Manchester United next month if a deal to leave the club has not been agreed. I think we all know that's going to happen. Anyway, that's not really breaking. But there's been interest from Barca, Inter Milan, Juventus and Bayern Munich, as well as a number of English clubs. Ruben Amorim has not made a situation of whether Rashford, Antony, Garnacho and Sancho will be part of the squad for the summer tour of the United States. Sources say it's too early to make firm calls on his travelling squad. Also on Rashford's waiting to hear from Barca if they remain interested after signing Nico Williams. Nico plays on the left-hand side while Rashford can play up front and on the right. That's what keeps giving him hope. It's looking like Barca is the dream move for Rashford now. Listen, on the pre-season thing, for the commercial and probably for the branding aspect, I mean, Garnacho is certainly a player who's like pretty well adored. He does get, but maybe since his recent moves, would he get the same plaudits? Antony, again, Sancho, Rashford, would you take him on the tour? I don't think I would personally, but they probably would keep him in the squad. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Listen, Rashford to Barca does look like the deal. That is the deal to happen at this moment. For me, Rashford, Barca makes sense. Again, but if they sign Nico Williams, he's not guaranteed to get playtime. I mean, they got one of the probably best players in the world at this moment in Lamine Yamal on that right-hand side. He won't be going anywhere. They've got Lewandowski, who again, I think he's 37 or definitely 36 now, so maybe he could go up front. And obviously they have Rafinha, Nico Williams on the left. So listen, Rashford has to think about, yes, it's his dream move, but will he get playing time there? And I think that's something that does come into the consideration. We know they will be coming back in about 2-3 weeks to United pre-season training. So let's see what happens there. But hopefully we get some positive news around exit, because I think it's time for United to start moving on players. Now the next thing I want to talk about, Rasmus Højlund. Napoli have had contact with Rasmus Højlund and received positive responses. The valuation of €45 million isn't a problem due to their financial capacity to complete a permanent transfer deal, while Inter Milan are still pushing for a loan deal. That's coming in from Sports Media Set. So listen, for me, Højlund, again, I want him to leave. I don't think there's a player there. I think he's a player who should go. Napoli, please take him. Now, on Vlahovic is demanding 200k per week to join United. He's on 315k. For me, Vlahovic isn't a good enough striker. Again, he has been previously linked. I mean, 200k a week. We're trying to get the wage structure down. I just don't think he will join. And the next thing, listen, Fabrizio has denied that Monaco have been interested in signing Andre Onana, but there has been some reports from Paul Hurst in the Times suggest that Monaco have approached Onana's representatives over a potential move, but the goalkeeper is minded to stay and fight for his place. Monaco asked his camp to be updated. No formal bid has been made. I'm pretty sure Romano did kind of deny it, but you still have to talk about it. As I said, we know the next keeper we want to bring in will be Emi Martinez if Onana goes. I think it's about getting Onana gone at this current moment. But listen, do I think it will happen? Probably not. Again, goalkeeper is a liability, but I think there's bigger and more important things to be done at this moment. But I'm going to leave it there for the news. Back later on. Peace.